Good morning, John.
Good morning, Brian.
You're going to talk to us about your holiday abroad in October 2022.
That's right. I was availed of a holiday from a crowd called GTS or whatever it is, and I reckon they were English because that's the crowd that contacted, and the value was very good. 14 nights abroad in Croatia, Montenegro, and Medjugorje, and coaches and tour guides and things like that. So it was good, and I had been on one of them a few years ago before the COVID, the same type of a holiday, and it was very good. It was a lady that was the tour guide, and it was very enjoyable and we learned a lot. And there was no problem. We were up at a normal time. We weren't up at cockcrow, as we were in the holiday in October. We had a man tourist guide, and it turned out kind of as just some time went on that he was a Muslim, and nothing wrong with that. But all the people who were Catholics and of a senior variety, retired people a lot. There was a few that mightn't have been retired, but most were retired people, and mostly Catholics and practicing Catholics. So the fact that we had a Muslim born in Germany, of Turkish parents, but a German citizen and a Muslim, and with the attitude of the Germans, which is up at cockcrow, 6:30 in the morning, breakfast at 7, and then off on a coach at 8 o'clock, and spending more time unnecessary in the coach, and listening to them talking about all sorts of stuff that was not of much interest to most of us, certainly not to me, because we weren't subject to that a few years ago when I was on it. So we got it from this gentleman, and at this stage I didn't know who he was, but we stayed a night in Dubrovnik in Croatia, and the following morning then there was a tour of Croatia, which we had before, but and was very informative a few years ago. But this time it was a younger type of a man, and so I didn't bother. I went off and did my own thing and met people and so on and so forth, and met people from from other countries, because there were a lot of people from different countries, and I got friendly with some people I met from Malaysia. And I reckon that it mightn't be safe for Christians in Malaysia, because might be persecuted by all the Muslims in that country, because it's a Muslim country. But I was assured it wasn't. And one of the men I was speaking to was educated here as a doctor and had great respect for Ireland. So he insisted on photographs being taken, and so this is the experience I had when I was on my own, and not listening to them to being sort of going along like sheep. I had a grand time, and then the following two days we were staying in the one place. So I took the day off. I didn't go off on this whatever he was at, the tour guide. We were staying 2 nights, so the following morning I took that off and went into the town to see what was the city it was supposed to be, but it didn't look like a city to me. I kind of saw what I needed to see, and I had a swim in the sea, because it was 24 degrees. It was quite hot, so it's stony beaches, so you put your feet near enough on it, and but the water was lovely, and I had a swim in the sea, so I was as fit as a fiddle. And that evening, or that night, when I was sitting in the reception area, because it's quite a big reception area in these hotels, and having a chat with one or two, and the tour guide said, "Oh, I didn't see you today," and so forth, he says. And I said, "Well, no," I said to him, and I just said, "If you don't mind me saying so, I think you talk too much, so we don't have time to say a prayer or meditate or anything. Maybe if you didn't speak as much." So, anyways, the following morning we were leaving to go to Medjugorje, and he never stopped talking. So we were up at Cockcrow again, and the last time when I was on this tour, when we got to Medjugorje, we checked into the hotel, so we were able to change our clothes and had a different kind of a day. But with this fella, we arrived in Medjugorje from Croatia at about 10 o'clock in the morning, or thereabouts, and he says we'll meet at 11:30. So it's 24 degrees, and I went off and did the stations. There was outside stations at the cross, and I did them the last time I was there. Did them again, and then it was that hot. I was carrying my jacket, which was I was wearing clothes that wasn't suitable for 24 degrees. I had inquired about the temperature and was told it could be from 15 to 20, but it was 24. This is October last year, so. Anyways, I decided to go into the church at about 11 just to cool off. But when I went in, there was more people there than I would have realised. I think there was Mass going on, which Mass normally is about 10 and then it's finished, but there must have been a second one. And here come in and the place was narrow, so I was walking down carrying my jacket and my two hands were engaged, and then there was something sticking out from a seat about 4 inches or maybe 5 inches, like that's the way it was. And you sometimes see it in churches, but they're wide enough, and you wouldn't have cause for tripping on it. But I was carrying these two items and was a bit on the hot side, but I tripped. My left foot caught with this thing and carried the two things. I wasn't able to keep me balance. I fell heavily and hurt myself, and wound up in a wheelchair the following day for the next 10 days, because this happened on the 4th or 5th day of the holiday. And I had to go. I went to the following day and went to the hospital in Medjugorje by taxi, and was x-rayed and got a scanner, one of these old style. There's the medical facilities in Montenegro. There's only 450,000 or thereabouts of a population of that country. Now, they have the euro, funny enough, but that's the population. And it's a mountainous area, and the whole place is mountainous. So the scanner was one of these old-fashioned ones, went up like that, but they did a job and did a good thing and nominated tablets. But there was nothing broken, but certainly it looked as if it was in a war. So when I came home, I gradually recovered and got some physiotherapy and so on and so forth. But my holiday was I had this holiday. So when I fell and I knew I hurt myself badly, the first thing I thought, which I was quite happy that I did, and though I was a bit angry afterwards, I offered it up in repentance for my own sins and for the Holy Souls of Poverty. That was my first thought. And ladies, it was all ladies that helped me up because I couldn't get up myself. And I was sitting, and one lady wanted me to bring me to a doctor, but this is 11, so I was meeting this tour guide at 11:30. Of course, we're so blinking early, he goes somewhere else, but at this stage I'm not fit to get out and look at anything. And and then we go to the hotel. The last time I was there, when we went to Medjugorje, we went to the hotel first, so it was a far better situation. This fella was wasting time and going to places that nobody was interested in, just wasting time. And then we go to the hotel, and fortunately people were very good to me. A couple was very good. They brought me up my breakfast in bed, because I went down once in the wheelchair, and my friend that I was sharing the room with, it took a half an hour to get Anthony. He was quite useless as regards being able to sort of feel his way about. I'd have the stuff done far quicker myself. So anyways, I wound up in a wheelchair for the next 10 days, and we stayed in one place for a week, near the Adriatic, and the people that were good to me came up, brought me breakfast and brought me down then in the morning at about 11 o'clock to sit in the reception area and talk to various people, and then brought me back up again, and then brought me down in the afternoon. So I had, at least I wasn't confined, and so they were very helpful, and I thanked them profusely, and they, with the business of the cases, they brought my cases up and down before we were staying for the week. And then when we were at the airport, they looked after that as well and had me in a wheelchair. So, and it was a wheelchair going to the airport in Dubranwick where we come back from, and then in Dublin had another one. And then it was gradually, improved a little bit. I was able to walk. We had a taxi there that brought us up to it. We didn't intend to go back in the taxi. We intended to go back in the bus as far as Virginia, because I live in a place called Oldcastle. So anyway, these things occurred. So we learned something from these accidents that we have, that we didn't plan or anything, just came out of the blue. And sometimes they come and they can knock you out. But I'm improving, thank God, and now not anything like what I was. I'm improving greatly and haven't got all the aches and pains that I had for a good bit. So that was my holiday. So people have different holidays, but oftentimes people, I remember years ago, people went out going to Spain, especially from Britain, because we had a place in Spain one time for a few years, some years. And be goodness, 50% of them may get food poisoning, because they'll be taking this lettuce, and lettuces in these hot climates can cause problems. So to be food poisoning, so their holidays was ruined. They were stuck in the bed, you know. So these things happen, and so it happened to me, but there was benefits to be had for it. I wasn't too pleased with it at times, to be quite honest with you. But Andy was his past now, and here I am, and back more or less nearly to full strength. So I thank you all for helping me during my period, and especially those people from Ballybofey, County Donegal. They were the ones that were great help, especially a couple called what was it? There was Agnes and her husband, Eddie. And then there was Agnes's nephew and his wife Paula. Just can't think of his name just from the top of my head now as I'm talking. So these are the ones that helped me. So good can come from an unfortunate experience that I had. Good can come from it, and does come from it. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, John. And I suppose it wasn't really the trip that you planned.
That's right. Correct.